we're gonna dip down to France, and we're gonna go with Luc Besson. Anyone who doesn't know Luc Besson, Fifth Element, Mila Jovovich, Bruce Willis, Chris Tucker. So having some fun in the cinematic genre of sci-fi, as opposed to all the serious stuff that sometimes come out, I thought Luc Besson would be perfect, because he's done serious films, but he's also been the biggest commercial French director whose films play overseas. You have multiple actors from around the world in his movies, as you could have witnessed by Fifth Element. And so I think Fifth Element just being a story about, it's a story about the saving of the world, but what movie that is Marvel based isn't? But I like this particular one just because of the set design and how they kind of projected the future. I think movies like Blade Runner have much more of a realistic, sort of gritty, grungy look, and Fifth Element is a little sunnier and a little more comedic, and so I would recommend that definitely. My next movie for him would be La Femme Nikita. La Femme Nikita is one of those films that was translated into a TV series, and it ran in the 90s, but the original to me has always stood as the foundation of what storytelling can be through action and through vulnerability. And I think Luc Besson has always been good at that, taking a vulnerable young lady who's on the outskirts of life and putting her in a situation in which she gets trained into being a lethal killer. But the way that he plots that and the way that he develops that character through the beginning of being destitute and then being taken in and trained and then leaving and having to get a life and having to get a boyfriend and having to navigate this professional life with a relationship, I think he handled very well. And it gives you some nice shots of 90s New York, 90s Paris. And so that's another one I'd recommend, because you're going to see a lot of filmmakers who pull from it. And then my third movie for him would be, I'm going to go with The Professional, because it's set in New York. But once again, if you can tell, Luc Besson's themes typically tend to have women in them, and not girls and women, but just very strong female characters, and there's an emphasis on that that's a pattern. And in The Professional, with Natalie Portman's character and Gary Oldman and Jean Reno, there's just a nice dichotomy of just female gentility, femininity, and just the action genre as a whole. And so The Professional, I think, being set in New York, but also featuring an American cast with a British Gary Oldman, is almost like the English version of La Femme Nikita, but at a much younger age. So that's Luc Besson, The Professional, Fifth Element, La Femme Nikita. And now we go on to Sidney Lumet. Sidney Lumet is an American